Ottawa Prime Minister Justin Trudeau landed in Beijing on Sunday, with expanding trade with China at the top of his agenda. As the United States under President Trump becomes increasingly protectionist, that's just one of the ways Canada is moving in the opposite direction. Along with 10 other nations, Canada is trying to revive the Trans-Pacific Partnership, a trade deal championed by the Obama administration and abandoned by Mr. Trump. It is in trade talks with numerous other countries and free trade groups including India, Japan, and Singapore. And in late September its sweeping free trade pact with Europe clicked into action. Now Mr. Trudeau is widely expected to add free trade talks with China to Canada's list of negotiations at his meeting with President Xi Jinping. Put it all together and it suggests that Mr. Trudeau, who announced that Canada is back after his election 2 years ago, is positioning his country to fill a void left by the United States by becoming the global champion of free trade. The rest of the world is saying, "What do we do?" said Dan Cyriac, the former deputy chief economist at Canada's Foreign Affairs and Trade Department, referring to the Trump administration's stance on trade. There is a lack of leadership, there is a vacuum out there. But hard realities may limit what Mr. Trudeau can achieve. First among them, Canada is, at best, a medium-sized economic power. It's hard to create the carrots to get other countries to come along with you when you're relatively small, said Chad P. Bown, a senior fellow at the Peterson Institute for International Economics in Washington. While Canada is acting logically in seeking new trade partners, Mr. Brown added, unfortunately it is unclear how much leadership they'll be able to show in terms of getting other countries to open up, taking over the mantle from the United States. Above all, economists and trade analysts almost universally agree that, because of geography and economic ties, Canada's trade will continue to be dominated by the United States, regardless of the fate of the North American Free Trade Agreement, which is now being renegotiated. We have to be realistic, said Dominique Anglade, the Deputy Premier of Quebec and its cabinet minister responsible for trade. You can't say that something will replace the United States. Still, there's a broad consensus among Canadians that their country benefits from open trade, making Mr. Trudeau's program relatively easy to sell politically. No mainstream party in export-dependent Canada echoes the protectionist views of Mr. Trump, who was carried into office on a wave of doubt about whether past trade policy had helped American workers. Since World War II, the United States has led the world in championing free trade. Washington played the leading role in designing a system of global trading rules, persuading other countries to lower barriers and forging pacts that allowed American companies to expand globally. Obama administration officials envisioned the United States as being at the center of several overlapping trade agreements, NAFTA as well as new agreements with Europe and 11 other countries along the Pacific Rim. They believed this would encourage manufacturers and other companies to build their businesses in the United States.